My name is Mary Brodell, and we are going to discuss how dog owners can build and maintain a strong bond with their dogs through two main points. These two main points are understanding body language, so that means identifying visual, auditory, and olfactory cues that dogs will use to communicate with you as the owner as well as with other dogs. And it's important to understand as a dog owner these cues, what they mean, and how they can convey different information, and then as well as developmental influences. So these are the physical and behavioral changes that will occur during dog development. So it's important for you as the owner to understand these different stages to ensure the success and fitness of the dog as they grow older to be teenagers and adults, and understanding the difference between critical and sensitive periods for dog behavior. So first, we'll go over understanding body language. So first, we have visual signals. So these are signs to see in your dog visually. So these include body posture, tail position and movement, whether it's wagging or it's stiff or bristled, ear position, whether they're up or perked back to indicate signs of fear, facial expression, if they're displaying a play face, or their tongue is out, or their teeth are out, then you could display different emotions there, different body languages there. Eye contact, if they're making eye contact with you, if they're looking away, sign of fear, or if they have a whale eye, which is common for fear. Those are some important signs to look for. And then if their fur, if it's erect or flat, that could indicate whether they're experiencing fear or alertness or distress. Yeah. So for example, we have on the top right corner, we have the alert dog. So its ears are forward. It may twitch to catch certain sounds, different stimuli in the environment. The eyes are wide. It's very alert. The mouth is closed. It's standing tall forward on its toes just to kind of observe any kind of objects near in the environment. The tail is horizontal. It's not stiff or bristled. So it's alert and hearing different sounds. And then the tail may wag from side to side depending on the different feelings that it may feel. And then we have stressed and distressed dog right below it. So the tail is down, the body is lowered, the ears are perked back, showing a sign of distress. The pupils are dilated, and it's experiencing rapid panting and sweating to show it's experiencing distress. Then we have auditory signals. These are signs to hear from your dog. Most commonly are vocalizations. One example here is whining. So dogs may whine for a variety of reasons, such as wanting to seek care or comfort from the owner. If it's experiencing excitement or happy to see you when you come home from work or school, and as well as it may be experiencing pain or it just wants to play. So there's different signs to kind of listen to from your dog. And then there are also different kinds of barks and growls from your dog that you want to pay attention to if it's angry or aggressive or excited. So you want to pay attention to those when to better understand your dog and what it's trying to communicate to you. And then lastly, we have olfactory signals. So these are signals to kind of look out for when a dog is trying to better understand, acquire information from its environment. So glands, these are a way for dogs to help build the odor profile from other dogs. So that could include sniffing, sniffing towards the back end of the dog, sniffing urine, smelling it, or feces, sniffing that. That'll help better understand their environment. And then urine, that's a way to identify individually the dogs, also for sex and receptivity, if that's what the dog is desiring. And then there's a chart here, the body language of fear. These are some important signs to look out for when a dog is experiencing fear, such as looking away, the raised hackles in the fur, the whale eye, which is the common indicator of fur, the paw lifting, and the panting. So these are some important signs to look out for. Next, we'll look at some examples of play in dogs. So on the left side, we have the play face. This is common in dogs when they are trying to signal a repeated play invitation. So you have one dog submitting to another with its belly up because it wants to invite the other dog to play. Also, the owner too can invite the owner to play with it with the ball. There's object play or just social play with other dogs. And then we have play bow. This is when a dog signals their intentions as being playful and friendly, and so they invite another dog to play. This can also be accompanied by an excited and happy vocalization or the play face as well. Next, we'll move on to developmental influences, which is the next main point of understanding dog behavior, which is similar to dog wolf behavior. So it's important to learn these four key periods: the neonatal period, which is from 0 to 14 days, the transitional period, which is from 14 to 21 days, socialization period, which is 3 to 10 weeks, and then the juvenile period, which is 10 weeks to sexual maturity or puberty, when the puppies finally become teenagers. It's important to understand the influences, the physical and physiological development that takes place during a dog's lifespan, the sexual maturation, so when they reach puberty, the prenatal stress that could influence the offspring development, and as well as learning. So learning how to react to different stimuli, learning how to understand the owner's behavior, their cues is highly critical to this period. Um, Responding to the Tinbergen's four questions, we start to examine ontogeny, which is how a dog's behavior will emerge over their lifespan. So it's important to understand these different critical periods of socialization, the critical period, the juvenile period, and the adulthood. So for you as the owner, it's important to take note of these different stages so that you can further prepare and care for your dog when they continue on to adulthood. So here we have the early development of the brain and maturation. So I'm going to go on within each different phase. So here in the neonatal period, we have the eyes and the ear canals are closed, so the puppies are unable to hear or see. They're also sensitive to tastes and odors, as well as touch. And in relation to their brain maturation, it is only 10% of the adult mass, where their connections to the cortex are still forming, and they're still learning how to become a puppy, how to grow, how to suckle and sleep and care from or seek care from their mom. Then we have the transitional period, the 14 to 21 days. This is where the eyes and the ear canals are beginning to open. They're starting to focus their gaze as puppies. And then in relation to the brain maturation, their neural connections are developing and their brain is enlarging, which is important as they grow into adulthood. Then we have a socialization period, which is 3 to 10 weeks. This is where they have their fully developed sensory abilities of sense of smell, taste, and hearing. They also have developed depth perception, so they're able to see far away or close, and different shades of color hues. And they're also able to control their own body temperature. And then in relation to the brain, they're also developing that rapid neural connection development, and their sensory areas as well as emotions are developing as well. So their olfactory bulb allows them to sense different hormones that are released from different animals, such as predators or friendly animals like hummingbirds, and then predators or such as snakes, as well as humans as well. They're able to release hormones and sense them as well. So that's important to understanding their environment and the different information that's in their environment. And then lastly, the juvenile phase, which is where the puppies become teenagers and they reach that sexual maturity. They have their adult teeth, they have that rapid growth, and their brain has continued to develop. They reach that 80% development by 16 to 20 weeks, and then that 100% development at 2 years old. So it's important to keep in mind those important stages. Then we have our behavioral development. This is where, for example, in the neonatal phase, they have that limited motor ability. They're relying on their mother for urination, defecation, learning how to do this important skill. When they get older, they're learning simple associations, which may be a slow process because they're still puppies. And then they're developing those food preferences. So choosing between one food versus the other is a key skill that they have or they develop. And then we have the transitional phase, which is where they can urinate and defecate on their own. They crawl and walk. They begin to display that social behavior towards their siblings, such as play fighting and tail wagging. And then their vocalizations become more defined, unique to their own character, personality, and then they become louder, more frequent. And then they learn associations more quickly. Then we have a socialization period, which is where they begin to learn who their social companions are, who their siblings are, other dogs. They recognize their siblings by smell. They begin to use tail wagging as a social symbol when they're around other dogs. Social play becomes prevalent, such as biting. They also learn to social facilitate other behaviors, and they learn to imitate other behaviors based on that social learning and that observation. And they also learn social cognition and affiliation, so who their siblings are, who their owners are, and who other dogs are. And then last, in a juvenile phase, which is where they're teenagers, they develop more of those advanced relationships with other dogs. They become more independent explorers of the environment, and they have better improved learning skills for training and future skills to build. It is also important too to note the difference between the critical and sensitive period. The socialization period, which is the 3 to 10 weeks, is also known as the sensitive period, which marks a flexible time where experiences are highly important and have an impact on the dog's development. So in the future, it may become harder for the dog to learn certain behaviors or skills during this time. But with patience, time, and proper training of tools such as a clicker as the owner, you can help your dog learn new skills. And then this brings me to the contrary, which is the critical period. This is a fixed window of time during the dog's development where they are malleable and easily moldable. So there are specific experiences that are required for development, such as urinating and defecating, learning how to wag their tail, how to bark. And these are all important for survival and fitness of the dog. So it's important to know as the owner these different phases. As a recap, we talked about understanding body language. This is key to a dog's development and growth. So as you continue to build that attachment with your dog, it's a two-way relationship. You have to pay attention to the dog's visual, social, auditory, and olfactory cues. This will allow you to respond appropriately to your dog's signals as they are trying to communicate to you in their best way. And by doing so, responding appropriately would eliminate misunderstandings that can happen between you and the dog, which could lead to problem behaviors in your dog, which is a common issue in today's dog to human relationships. Looking at this diagram on the left bottom corner, we see that the attached individual, for example, which is the dog in this case, will display behavior to the attached figure, which is you as the owner. Your job as the owner is to meet your dog's expectations by responding appropriately, paying attention to your dog's cues, and providing caretaking behavior, which enables the dog to seek you for protection and trust in times of need. This results in a mutual understanding between you and your dog, indicating an organized and successful attachment style, something that you want to practice as an owner. Then we talked about canine development, which is critical for your dog's success. We talked about the neonatal period, which is crucial for learning those simple associations and making those food preferences as a puppy. We learned about transitional period, which is important for social behavior, tail wagging, learning how to define their own unique vocalizations that are unique to their character and personality. We learned about socialization, which is important for cognitive learning, making those quicker associations, social playing, using the play face, the play bow, learning to affiliate between their siblings, other dogs, their owners. And then we also learned about the juvenile period, which is when they become those independent explorers, those teenagers, where they establish those advanced relationships and those better developed relationships and skills as dogs. And that's all. Thank you.